Yeah, what's going on? My name is Narnar. You might not have seen me before. I'm usually a bear with sunglasses on. Today I wanted to talk about something that I've learned over like the years and years of playing M Plus with a bunch of different pugs, and maybe pass on some, I don't want to call it like wisdom, but just trial and error shit that I've learned along the way. The first thing I started doing recently is to play for like not each individual key, but like the long game of just playing for the season and like making friends and having a good time in general, and like not focusing on like, oh my god, we're gonna complete this key and then just like everyone leaves. All right, no headphones, here we go. Yeah, so I started to play for the season and not for the key, which I think for me is definitely helps you like not get angry each individual time that shit happens, because shit does happen. So it's like, what are you gonna do? There's 5 people in every group and you're only one of them, so at like best you could do 20%, and you're not perfect. So I mean, you really don't have like insane control over everything unless like you're in comms with everyone, and I don't know, in that case you're probably not watching my videos anyway. So I always try to assume that nobody knows anything, and if you don't explain something, unless it's like obviously something very basic like, hey, don't stand in the swirl or whatever, but if you're doing something, say you're in like a plus 16 and you're like, oh, everyone knows that when you do this pull you stand on this ledge or whatever, and it's like not everyone knows that, and you don't know people's level of experience, or maybe their group does it differently and they're just, you know, I don't know, you don't want to just surprise people and be like, how do you not know that you're supposed to blah blah blah. So like a good example is of assuming nobody knows anything is like the first boss of Brackenhide, when that he does like a grievous bleed. Well, I forget which one. I think it's Gash Tooth maybe. He like jumps around and puts a bleed on everyone that they have to get above 90% health in order for it to go away. And if you don't, then basically the whole group just starts bleeding out slowly. And then they also get a buff, I think, for how much health is missing. So it kind of just spirals out of control. So if I'm pugging that fight, I always ask, like, if there's a Shadow Priest, I'm like, hey, can you Vampiric Embrace, 5 seconds into the boss fight? And then that pretty much covers the first one. Or tell everyone like, hey, you might need a health pot the first one. Or if I'm healing, I just know like, okay, I have to pop cooldowns. But if there's something that you can solve by like just telling people something in party chat, because a lot of the times you have extra time in these keys. Like if you're doing like a plus 16 with pugs, like you probably are gonna end the key with like 5 minutes left or 2 minutes left. So like you can take 10 seconds and just type out like, hey, we're gonna walk over here and do the pull here, or hey, I'm gonna kick purple, can you kick yellow? Just shit like that just helps so much. And then it's like, if it doesn't go according to plan and you did type everything, then you could be like, oh, I tried. But if you just YOLO everything and you try to do like some pull that like maybe not everyone's used to, or you're combining 2 packs that are a little bit scary, and then you die. I'm speaking mostly from like a pug tank perspective, I guess, but like you try to do something you saw on someone's stream and no one sees it coming, and no one has cooldowns, and no one knows what to kick, and then you die, and then you get angry, and it's like, I mean, what do you expect to happen? But you could type out like, hey, I'm gonna do this pull, do you guys want to try it? Like, are you interested in trying this pull? Are you able to kick diamond, and I'm gonna kick yellow, and watch out for this frontal, I'm gonna aim it towards the wall, and shit like that. And I think I found like the more you try to just quickly put notes out like beforehand, I don't know, people kind of respond well to that. And at least if it doesn't go well, you tried. So I don't know, moving on to the next one is I try not to ever flame people during the key. Well, pretty much ever. Like, don't be toxic to people, but like if something goes wrong and you're just gonna stop and stand there and just type at people like, you should have done this, when like there's nothing to be done anymore, you're just like assigning blame to people, and I don't know, it's not productive. So you kind of have to treat like everyone in your group as like a kindergartner, and they have like the ego of like a 2-year-old or something, and so you just have to be like aware of that. Like if you hurt someone's feelings in M plus, like they might just leave, and then you don't get to complete your key, and maybe it's like all yours. Oh, I need to get like a 18 for my vault or whatever on like my champ, and it's you stop halfway through it, you call like the demon hunter an idiot, then the demon hunter leaves, and then you don't get to do the key. So like even if you need a selfish reason to not be an asshole, like then there it is. And then the other part of that is like, if the key's already done, there's literally no point in like, I don't know, this is something I go back and forth with my friends, is that like, if the key's done and you're not gonna play with the people ever again, the only appropriate thing to say is like, GG, thank you for invite, and then you leave, in my opinion. Some people like to say like, oh well, I want to share so they can improve for next time, and it's like, I don't really think that that's true. I think people, maybe I'm just projecting, but I feel like if the key's over and you're never going to see the people again, unless they asked you or they like seem open to like feedback, or like they're like, hey, what did you guys think? Then you could give your opinion. But if you're just like, hey, like you need to heal more, it's like, who cares? Whatever. It's not going to like help anyone improve unless you're like specifically like, hey, I noticed you didn't press this button when you could have, and it probably would have made it easier, smiley face or something, like where it's like clear that you're actually trying to help and not just like blaming people. Something I see a lot in dungeons is like, I don't know, people are playing, maybe this is a whole other topic, but people seem to be playing many different games. So there's the time the key game, there's the do top damage game, and then there's the it's not my fault simulator, which I think a lot of people are playing, whether they want to admit it or not, which is like, oh, I have this plus 21 Brackenhide, and then they want to come in like a Discord call and be like, man, this healer fucking sucked. He couldn't heal the first boss of Brackenhide. I keep using Brackenhide as an example for some reason. But like, oh, this healer, god damn it, I could have timed this key, but the healer sucks. Or I could have, we had 10 seconds left, and then the mage didn't lust, so we lost the time. It's like, yeah, but if you look back, like, as part of like why I like streaming is I can look back at my VOD and be like, oh, like I could have done more damage here as the healer, or I could have positioned the mobs better as a tank, or I could have interrupted something, even though it was like all the way over there and I would have had to like move and lose damage to like go kick this mob so that I would get into the pole, instead of that mob's like free casting in the back, just like bolting the healer and bolting everyone and like killing everybody. Like sometimes there's always shit that you could do better. So like to come in, I don't know, maybe I'm just speaking like specifically my Discord, but sometimes people come in and they're like want to just blame people, and it's like, yo, no one's perfect, you know? So it's better to just focus on like, oh, this wiped us, so next time before I pop my cooldowns, I'm gonna run over there, typhoon the pack together, and then maybe type out to the tank like, hey tank, can you kick X? I'm gonna kick square or something like that. And then it's like, boom, you just solve the problem. And it's like, sure, it's not your job to call kicks in a pug, but like if it's something that you died to previously and then you do the same key and you didn't change anything, then I don't know, like what do you think is gonna happen? Like it's obviously just gonna happen again, probably, unless like you just happen to RNG like get into a different group that is gonna do it for you instead. So I don't know, I try not to play the like it's not my fault simulator. I'm definitely guilty of it too. Like it's easy to get like really tilted when you think, or at least in your opinion, like you're doing the best that you can and you're doing everything that's expected of you, and then someone just drops the ball. But it's like you have to assume that nobody knows anything and just try to do as much as you can. And especially in keys that are like even the ones like I do with my friends are like, we're like 20, 21, 22s right now, and like it's like hard, but if everyone's playing well, like you do have a lot of wiggle room and you can lose a little bit of damage here to like help set up the pull better, or like type out something. I don't know, it's not, I don't know, you have a lot more wiggle room than I think you think to stop and coordinate and type stuff out or mark stuff or whatever. Make friends, this is a big one, and this is actually how I got probably most of my friends, is make friends in failed keys if you can. If the tank is good and everyone's blaming them, maybe ask them, do you want to try again, or offer your key, or maybe offer to get in Discord and ask how you can help. Say, hey, is there a certain kick that you want me to get? Which one do you want to kick? Like I have an auto marker, so there's always going to be a yellow and a purple. If there's more kicks than that, then I mean, it's really not like there's not a lot of pulls, at least that you're going to be doing in pugs, that need like 3 and 4 like different mobs like coordinated to kick. So usually there's like just 1 or 2. So you could be like, before the key starts, hey, like I'm always going to get purple, you get yellow. And even if they don't, like even if they only do it half the time, like that's still so much better than overlapping or just like completely YOLOing kicks. And then everyone, say there's like a mob that's casting a fear and everyone's like, probably the tank's gonna get it, right? And then it's about to go off, and then everyone in the party kicks it, and now there's no more kicks. And so there's like a wither. Just pretend that the only key I've ever ran is Bracken-Hide, because it's the only example I'm using today. You fail. I mean, obviously add people in keys that go well, but I think if you can find people that can fail and then still be chill and like talk to you, like one of my friends that I play with all the time, Simp Manager, the DK, the push team I was playing on, I met him in a Plague Fall, like I think 2 years ago or something, where I don't remember who was tanking or what it was, but something happened where we failed like halfway through the key, and like someone had like a fucking meltdown and just was like, oh my god, everyone fucking sucks, and then like left the key. And then we all just like stood around talking and party chat like about like Necrolord buffs and shit like that, and like I was like, oh, these people are chill, like you want to run another one, like fuck it. I forget what level it was, and it was like a 19, and we're like, let's do the 18, invite a different tank and different DPS, and then you run keys. And like, I don't know, just because like one key didn't do well, like really what you want to be doing is like, you kind of want to be like hunting for people that are resilient and don't flip out and don't blame you and get like super toxic anytime anything happens. Like find people that are cool with depleting, because if you're going to be doing, like if you're doing keys and every key is timed, that's not really that fun. But if you're doing keys and every key is depleted, obviously that's not fun either. But there's like some ratio where like you want to be failing sometimes, so like you have to find people that are willing to be failing, which I think I have a good collection of people. Like even if it's like, I'd rather have like a chill like 2800 tank than like a really toxic 3100 tank that like thinks everyone knows every text or every tech and is like knows which one to kick, and then pulls like half the dungeon, and then he's like, what the fuck, nobody kicked anything. It's like, yeah, but like you didn't tell us what to do, like you didn't link a route, like you didn't explain anything, like you just have these like crazy expectations of the group, and then everyone's dead, and then you leave, and then now my key's a 19 instead of a 20, and no one wants to do it, when it's like we could have just pressed W and like easily timed this. I don't know, it's very frustrating. But you want to, even if it didn't go well, like say you deplete by 2 minutes, but you realize like your shaman healer is like kicking everything that's important and has like really good cap totems, and like use spirit link in like 2 places that save the tank, and like even though you depleted, like that shaman is sick, like add that shaman or whisper them and be like, hey, like your heals were so good, like do you want to run another key? And then that's your, maybe in a few months, like that's your main healer that you run with like every time you log in, or you never know. But yeah, just because like the keys failed, like doesn't mean that everything about it was bad, or like every player fucking sucks. I don't know, maybe it was your fault, and maybe you're like, hey, I'm sorry, like I'm playing like shit, like I'm usually not like this, like do you guys want to go again? We could do my key if you don't want to risk yours. I don't know, try to always be like extracting like good players out of shitty keys if you can, or at least that's what I try to do. Oh, and then one of the last things is do science and complete depleted keys. So say you're like running with your friends and you're like, oh shit, all right, this key's bricked, like there's nothing we could do. It's like, all right, well, spend like 2 minutes and pretend that this is like a playground, and be like, I usually don't pull this pack, but I'm gonna pull it with this other one, and we're just gonna see if we died. Okay, we died. Well, why did we die? Oh, because this guy does this ability that we're usually not used to seeing. But if we just kick it, or, you know, you make sure that you dispel this instantly or whatever, like there's ways to fuck around. So like just because the key's like depleted, you could still test other stuff, and then next time you're in there, you're like, oh yeah, remember we practiced this? Like let's try it for real, and then it goes well, and boom, you save 30 seconds, or you got like extra % or something like that. It's pretty sweet. I have a lot of fun doing that, like especially like Tournament Realm or like the Testing Realm. I have a lot of fun logging in there and just like fucking around and trying different pulls, like where the stakes aren't so high, or there's really no stakes because there's like a keystone vendor or whatever. Yeah, I don't know. So I think this will be like a part 1 kind of deal. I think I'm gonna go on my Discord, and maybe like if anyone wants to comment like wisdom that they've picked up along the way, or little tips and tricks, or maybe just share like a fun story of like how you met your tank in a depleted 11 necrotic wake, and then now you guys are pushing like 25s or some shit. But yeah, let me know what you think. It's kind of a rambling video. I usually don't go on camera, but I don't know, I had a lot of coffee today and I was like, let's try something new. So yeah, thanks for watching.